Hello, everyone. Welcome to Truth in the Barrel. And, I'm pretty excited whenever we do the Devil's Cuts. We go into people that are incredible. And as you can see on the screen with me right now is the inimitable Harry Dunn. And Harry,
Never.
yeah, and I just wanted to remind everybody if you want to catch incredible, interviews like this, you got to make sure that you sign up for the Truth in the Barrel podcast. But you also need to go make sure and you sign up for Harry Dunn's podcast and his show
Clean up
because,
clean up on out 45. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I want you to have millions of followers, Harry, because you deserve it
Thank you.
based on what you did. But pretty incredible that we're here with Harry today in our Devil's Cut Truth in the Barrel. And I know usually we have an incredible lead in because we have research and we do all kinds of things for the Devil's Cuts to do these deep dives. But this one's pretty special to me. And
Yeah.
Harry, it is because you are a guy that most people want to talk about January 6th or politics, right? Disinformation,
Yeah.
lies about January 6th. But we're going to talk about something different today because, Harry, you joined me in a huge group. And I know I came late because, I was doing other crazy things. You joined me in a group for a humanitarian mission into Ukraine. And I want to tell people before we get started, many times I invite people on these incredible missions, whether it's medical equipment, communications equipment, laptops, you name it, we do it. And a lot of times I'll text somebody, Harry, and I'll be like, hey, do you want to go to Ukraine for me? And they're like, oh, yeah, but I think I have a massage that day, right? So, or, my
Dude, I
wife
got a
doesn't want me
massage
to.
in Ukraine, by the way.
Did you get a massage in
Yeah,
Ukraine? There you go. I didn't even know.
At the hotel. At the hotel. It's funny that you said that. That is hilarious.
But most people, they're like, they say, yeah, I want to go, but then they sort of waffle. And I want to ask you what your first feeling was, Harry, Harry Dunn, when I texted you and I'm like, Harry, I got this crazy idea. Do you want to go to Ukraine? I got a response people. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was responding in the future. Like I sent it. And then Harry's like, I'm doing this. And what was your first thought when you thought about going to Ukraine, my friend?
Well, Denver, it was on the heels of after Zelensky had that ambush in the Oval Office where the whole cabinet and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio just played this tough guy role and just tried to ambush. And I was so furious. And I think that I was on Blue Sky or somewhere tweeting or about it, like Trump should be embarrassed, like Zelensky. And I had my phone in my hand and I'm just like firing off angry messages or whatever. And then here comes Denver Riggleman, the text, hey, you want to go to Ukraine? And I was sitting there and looked, I was like, wait a minute, like, huh? And then yes, say, like, when? Tomorrow? Like, when? Tomorrow? Like, when do we leave? Like, let's go. Sure. I didn't. And you said standby details incoming. And, and within a couple of hours, we were on a Zoom discussing logistics and booking flights and making it happen. But I was excited to get out there and do something. That's always been my whole mantra, do something. Like everybody likes to talk about what everybody else is doing or what everybody else is not doing. We could control what we could control. So when I had the opportunity that you said, hey, let's go, I just, hell yeah. When do we leave was the when do we leave?
When do we go? Did you tell any friends or family? Did they have any reaction to you when you were talking about going to Ukraine? Did they say, oh my gosh, Harry, you're going into a war zone? Did you get any of that pushback before you went?
Not immediately. I kept it very, very close to the vest. Didn't tell many people. Obviously I had to tell my parents. And when I shared with them, they saw the excitement in me. They saw that I was excited. And this is already after I got I made sure I got the briefing first because I had questions about, it being dangerous. And, I was worried about that too. I'll run blindly into danger, but I don't want to be blindly running into it. I'll always run towards it. But if I can go not blindly, then I'll choose that path 100 times out of 100. But no, what'd you say?
I was going to say, you're going to make sure before you dive in a pool, it's not 2 feet deep, right?
Exactly. That's literally it. I'm going to dive in, but how do I approach it? But no, so after I got, a couple little breakdowns and some of the logistical questions I had, I was able to share more with my loved ones, my family. And they were worried. They were like, Why? Like, I'm going to Ukraine. Why? Like, you understand they're fighting over there. And it's like, that's why I'm going. They're fighting for their existence. They're fighting for their survival. And any way that I could be helpful, I'm all in.
Do you think, since me and you, were together in the January 6th hearings there at the beginning, and what we saw there and what you went through, what you experienced personally, do you think that part of it is, and Harry, you feel like, oh man, do you feel like a little bit of it is after everything that's happened, it's almost like it's not that you want to be confrontational. It's not that you're trying to pick a fight, but you want to do something against this sort of bullying regime in Russia and things like that. But do you think part of it's your law enforcement background, Harry, or the fact that you have this justice streak in you that you wanted to go to Ukraine?
Well, absolutely. You make a good point because a lot of it is pushback. I mean, hell, even towards Donald Trump, the way he and Republican members of Congress that don't want to back Ukraine or saying, where's all our money going? And why we had the opportunity to see where the money was going. And I could answer that question on the House floor. If members why are we sending billions of dollars of aid? Well, I could actually go on the House floor and discuss that now. And you know what? They have the opportunity to do the same. They asking this question, why are we support? Just go over there and see. How about that? How about you take it? Why am I going as a private citizen and I can answer the question that you have way more access to as a sitting member of Congress? So a little bit is about sticking it to them and pushing back and like, screw you guys. I'll do it if y'all don't want to help. A little bit is that. But at the same time, it's about doing what's right. Listen, there are a lot of people that want to push back that will help from their computer chairs here in America, and which is completely fine, which is completely necessary. But it's just something about that law enforcement wanting to help and be there. Like, I'm here. How can I be of assistance? And you know what? And this is a lot. I don't have to tell you this, but for the people listening, when we were over there, we delivered, medic packs, trucks, vans, an ambulance, fire truck, like all this aid and computers and laptops, gave blood over there. And these individuals, they said, we're so thankful for this aid. We need it. We cannot survive without it. However, you all being here physically means more to us than this aid ever does. And he was like, now don't get it twisted. We need the aid. We need it. But just you all being here with us physically means so much more to us because they're one of the biggest questions they have over there. Has people forgotten about Ukraine? Do people still stand with us? And the fact that we were able to say them in their face, looking them in the eyes, not thousands and thousands of miles away, but face to face, we stand with you. I think it meant volumes to them. It spoke volumes.
Now, so you law enforcement, me military, right? So we have this natural, we're simpatico, right? We want to go do good things, but there is something about breathing the air of the thing you're talking about and having your feet on the ground and being in that general environment to give you a new perspective. So I got to ask this question because I know people listening and by the way, people listening, listen, if me and Harry can do this, you can do this. There's multiple organizations out there, humanitarian organizations that you can go to that me and Harry are attached to. And we're happy to provide that information, right? That's something that Harry and I were now, we're proselytizing for Ukraine because we know that these people have been completely sort of overwhelmed by the stupidity of the Russian regime and also the horrors and things like that. So did you fly into Warsaw or Rzeszów when you went into Poland before going into Ukraine?
I flew into Warsaw. Well, we had a layover in Switzerland. So it was kind of cool. So I got the opportunity to get some real Swiss chocolate and everything. And all the airlines, they don't bring you like goldfish or sun chips or like here, Demet or Chex Mix. They bring you the finest chocolate over there. So
that was not bad.
And then flew out of Switzerland into Warsaw. And,
into Warsaw.
We spent the night in Warsaw. Yeah. The first
and
night.
So, had you been into Poland before?
Dude, I hadn't been out of the country. I was born on Andrews Air Force Base, and literally 30 days after I was born, we flew to England, and I lived there for the first 4 years of my life, and then it came back, and then outside of going to like Montreal or the Bahamas or anything. I haven't left the country since.
Oh, my heart is full that this is one of your significant overseas trips. Like, this is fantastic.
As a grown up overseas trip. And I mean, so much to the point, Denver, that when we're flying across the Atlantic Ocean and like those big giant, jumbo jets, those Airbuses and stuff, that's what we're on. And people are laid back they got their sleeper mask on and they are laid back, the chairs reclined all the way into a bed. And I'm looking out the window, just nothing but ocean. And I'm looking, I'm on my way. And I just had this excitement in my belly. My heart was full and I couldn't wait to get over there. So yeah, that was my first international trip in a long time. So yeah, I was excited.
Well, it's not like your first international trip was, you went to, Barbados. You decided to go to Ukraine.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and go into a war zone. This would be fun. And that's something that's a little bit of a misnomer in some ways. Yes, it's a war zone, but it's incredible that the way Ukraine functions. And so you get to Warsaw, right? And at that point, you start the convoy towards the Ukrainian border, correct? The next morning after you spend the night.
Yeah.
So did you get to drive? Or, what did you drive, man? Okay.
When we got there, we all had our, introductory meeting. Everybody meet each other. These are the other 25, 30 like-minded individuals that are here to help save Ukrainian lives. And that's what it was all about. So later in the evening, after the orientation, if you will, got a message to say, hey, you're on the first convoy out in the morning. Like, everybody else is leaving at 7 a.m. I need you to leave at 4 a.m. And we're going to the train station. You're going to drive across the border and blah, blah, blah. So the first leg of the trip, I'm in the passenger seat. And then the driver gets out, goes to the train station, hops on a train. And then I get to drive a heavily, not armored. It wasn't armored, but it was definitely packed for off-roading, a pickup truck with the biggest tires on it. And it looked like a war truck. Like, it was all black and I got to drive that across the border from Poland into Ukraine.
So Harry, you got to drive a jacked up redneck truck across the border into Ukraine. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is what you're hearing, my friend. That is what you're hearing. I got to drive that. And I'll tell you, if that truck pulled up to you and you see a black guy with tattoos out there looking at you, you can be like, whose truck did you steal? Like, that ain't your truck.
Russians running away from you, right, Harry? Like, what is going on?
Like, who the hell is this guy driving this damn truck? But no, I got to drive across the border from Poland into Ukraine. And it felt something. It was powerful. It was a powerful moment. And
were you stuck at the border though, brother?
You know what? Yes. Well, we were the first car in line, and not even like on some, we're there and it was like two cars ahead of us and we're exaggerating. No, we were literally the first car. And the amount of runaround to get, so when you get out of the border, you have to, when you leave, you get inspected by the country you're leaving. And then obviously you're inspected 5 feet away again to enter the country. And it's like, my gosh. And more than 2 hours each time. And you literally, I think we were there probably about 5 hours and we were the first car.
Of course. Did you get stuck in the no man's land between Poland and Ukraine?
Yeah.
Right. That little area right there. That's right.
Little area. Yeah, exactly. And we were and you think the people in America walk around with heavy artillery. I mean, you have people with Uzis slung over their shoulder like women carry purses, and everybody just got a damn Uzi on their arm and, submachine guns, and they're just walking around. I mean, yeah, we do it here in the U.S. a little bit, but I mean,
it's incredible. Like on the Polish side, you got U.S. arms. On the Ukrainian side, you got Kalashnikovs, right?
Yeah.
And you're sort of stuck right in the middle of no man's land. You're looking around like, I really don't want to be here much longer, because it does get, and it took me 6 hours the first time through, and back last year when I went the first time, it took me 9 hours to get out, right? And so it was just insane. But I walked across the border this time, Harry. Did I tell you I walked from Poland to Ukraine?
Is that what you did? Well, so I was wondering. and I'm glad that you brought that up, because when we're sitting there in the car, it was another car behind us that was part of the convoy. We were watching people get out and just walk, and like, or
Yeah.
waiting for like an Uber or a Bolt, or what they're called over there, to come pick them up. And I was just like, is this like the way to do it? Like, you just walk across and then you get picked up.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, yes, it's the way to do it. People were doing it.
It's the
Where
way to
are all
go.
these
If
people
I do
going
it next,
to?
so what happens is, so we get there late, right? I saw you the last 2 days, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then, I went into Kherson and did crazy stuff, and me and you could talk about that
yeah,
over a
yeah,
beer. So, and, had a couple drone attacks. It was what fun.
yeah,
So we get dropped off, buddy. So my buddy Steve comes in late into Rzeszów. So we get a taxi to the border, a taxi,
yeah.
and we get dropped off on a walking path, take out our stuff. And I'm like, what's crazy, Harry? A lot of people recognize me and you in the States, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Nobody has a effing clue who I am
over
walking,
there.
So I got
Yeah,
my backpack on and my other bag. You don't want to pack completely light, but you're pretty light. So
yeah.
I go through there and I'm like, this is going to be awful, man. I'm walking across the border. It took exactly 8 minutes.
That's it.
8 minutes. So you get through, right? And now, so you have your jacked up Bigfoot truck, right?
Yeah,
And big black guy in tattoos, right?
yeah,
As you say, driving. But I got to ask you, as far as emotionally, once that vehicle was on Ukrainian soil and you're
yeah,
driving, and my guess is your first stop was Lviv, right? Did you
yeah.
guys go to Lviv?
We drove right through
Um,
it. Yeah,
Right. What was your feeling? What was the air like? And I know that you're like, God damn, but when you're first in Ukraine for the first time, knowing you are in a country at war as a non-combatant, right? Me and you
yeah,
aren't carrying anything. It's not like
yeah,
you're have your law enforcement gear. It's not like I
yeah,
have my kit, right? We don't have our kit. We're
yeah.
we're non-combatants. What was your feeling, buddy, when you're in that truck and you're in Ukraine headed to Lviv?
Honestly, Denver, I kept looking out at the countryside. You're driving in, and the first thing you see is this beautiful countryside.
Yeah.
These yellow blooming flowers, or I think they make pressed oils out of them, and that's
They
some of
do. Ukraine before the war was the number one producer of sunflower oil. I don't know if
it
people
was.
know that in the
It,
world globally.
it, it's crazy because the fields are covered in these beautiful yellow blooming flowers, or sunflowers, and it's beautiful. The dirt in Ukraine is just it looks like it's very wet and moist, but that's just the way that the soil is over there. Just got good ground. And just looking at this beautiful country, we're driving by, we see farmlands, and as far as the eye can see, and families out there working in the farmlands. And then as we drove by, and I'm seeing maybe a building here or there, and I'm looking like, is that building about to get struck? Or where is a bomb going to, or a missile going to hit next? And now, granted, this was like right on the edge of Poland when we first got in. So I don't think Russia had made it that well, they didn't make it that far in. But as you start to go further into the country, into Lviv, into Kyiv, you start to see signs of war. I remember one long stretch of road that we were in. They got, usually they're driving, there's a median, there's grass, or there's a Jersey barrier in between the cars for about 5 miles, maybe 3 miles, 5K, 5 kilometers. There was no grass. And it was just a 8-lane road. And one of the guys was saying that's where they fly emergency airplanes in should an airplane need to get into Ukraine or out of or something. But I was like, wow, they turned a highway into a runway.
That's
Um,
right.
and it was just amazing. One of the most, and this, forgive me for getting ahead of myself. One of the
No,
coolest
keep
things
going,
that
buddy.
I
This is
saw
good.
so we spent the night in Lviv, and well, it doesn't really get dark there very early. Like, it's like 10 o'clock, and I was like, it's still light outside. But when we were driving into Kyiv, we saw the road signs that would say Kyiv so and so miles ahead, and they were all like obliterated. And one of the guys that was it's Ukrainian. He said that they did that so when Russia came in, they wouldn't know which way to go. They were like kind of like you got signs pointing, hey, state capital this way, like of Russian. Like, okay, yeah, make it easy on it. So they were like, all the road signs. I got some great pictures of that. The road signs that said Kyiv, 600 kilometers north. Like they erased them almost.
They did.
And then just seeing places as we continue to drive in, some buildings where there was strikes, or you could see drone strikes have been targeted into the area. And that's all I kept doing, man. Denver. And I tell people, if you've never heard an air raid siren in real life, like not on TV, not on the internet, not simulated somewhere, if you haven't been in a city where an air raid siren this is different from a tornado warning sign or a evacuate the capital blare. Air raid sirens, and you hear them, and my eyes just shot up to the sky, and I'm looking like, where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? And as I'm looking around Denver, I see men, women, children walking about their day, kids with backpacks on, people in restaurants. While air raid sirens are going off, people in restaurants, the restaurants are packed. The streets are bustling with people living their life. And me, I'm a nervous wreck looking up at the sky, wondering where the hell the attack is coming from. So shortly
That's
after,
right.
I'm talking to a few of the locals. Like, we got to know they're such a friendly people. And even if you don't speak much, they don't speak much English, they still want to talk to you. So y'all are talking in two different languages. You don't know what you're saying, but a smile is universal. And they got big smiles on their face. But being able to talk to some people that did speak English, I asked them, I said, are you all just used to this? Is this why you keep going on about it? Like, y'all hear the sirens, you just used to it? And then they said, no, you never get used to it. What they feel is a rebellious spirit to say, F you, you're not going to change Putin, F you, Putin, you're not going to change the way that we're living our lives. And we're going to continue to live every single day with our freedoms that we still have. And that was powerful to me, because that is the ultimate message of resilience right there. And they're still out there, and that resonated with me heavy, Denver.
As an American who feels that sovereignty, the freedom to choose what you want to do, is sort of baked into us. Now, we can talk about this current government at another time
Yeah.
and how we think that's gone sideways, which does
Yeah.
sort of, as real Americans, we get very, very angry about that. But when you're in Ukraine and you've been trained that way, you have this justice streak like you have, Harry, right? And you look at these people, you're overwhelmed by their stubbornness, which is in a good way, right?
Good way. Yeah.
And really their collective middle finger to the Soviet Union, to Russia, right? And here's the other thing too. It's so great, and I want to tell people what Harry's talking about. You're driving on a rutted road, then the road is perfectly paved. Look, isn't it, Harry? It's like
Yeah.
beautiful, and then you
Not
see
a
another
pothole.
lane.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, this is the airstrip. And you can actually see the berms where they park the jets to the side of the freeway, of the interstate that you're on, or the major highway that you're on. The other thing too, what Harry's talking about with the sirens, I thought hey, by the way, my electric shaver sounds just like an FPV drone. I just want to let you know.
Oh man, you got to get a new shaver, dude.
I know, because once you hear drone coming in, it really changes your life too. Yeah. But I was in Odessa at noon. The night before, we had been gone into the bunker. Right, we had a drone attack that came right over our hotel, so it's incredibly loud. So it's not only the air raid siren; we're hearing the anti-aircraft artillery, which is mostly 50 cals, Kalashnikovs. You're hearing missile launches. You're hearing the actual Shaheds coming in on the drones. Right, so the sky is lit up. So we go down into the bunker, and then I will tell you, an hour after we get, the actual attack happens, the Ukrainians had their kids down in the bunker, and they're just like, oh well, and they just go right up to their hotel room. There's no drama, there's no crime. They are so used to it. And you're right, it's not that they're used to it; they're just not going to give in.
Yeah.
So I'm in Odessa the next day, and I'm drinking a cappuccino because I'm a tough guy. So I'm drinking a cappuccino in Odessa. And the air raid siren comes on. Now, listen, literally 6 hours before, 7 hours before I'm in a bunker.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm like, oh man. And I look up like you do, like Americans do during an air raid siren.
Yeah.
And I look over at my translator, Lana, and I'm like, Lana, I mean, we've been through 2 straight days of running from drones and attacks. What's the rules of engagement here during the day while I'm drinking a cappuccino? She goes, oh, Denver, finish your cappuccino. I don't hear a drone. So that's the way that they're wired.
It's powerful, man. And you know what? Not to even merge the two interviews, but it's a lot about that I see about from me in January 6th. Like a lot of times, you just want to say, all right, what's the point? Like the institutions here didn't hold Trump accountable. Why? And then now he got reelected. It's like 4 years later, why am I even still trying? Because it's the right thing to do, and that resilience just reinforced what I'm trying to do here with seeking accountability and never giving up on this issue. It was very meaningful for me. Obviously, they helped me, because a lot of times I felt defeated. Like, why are we still trying, Denver? Like the country spoke, they elected Donald Trump. Nobody gives a damn anymore because it's the right thing to do. And so many times you just want to just not quit, but proverbially quit.
I know what you mean.
But seeing that just gave me an injector shot in the arm. It's like, everybody asked the question, could it get worse? Could it be worse? Or just, hey, it could always be worse. Or thank God that you're not there. Well, we could be there one day. And you have to, it requires maintenance to make sure you don't end up in war. I mean, we just had tanks rolling down the street in Pennsylvania Avenue. I mean, but who knows what? Nobody would have ever predicted that. But here we are, and you keep on moving steps closer until you do something about it. So that trip invigorated me as much as it helped them. It invigorated me, and that's why I'm like extra grateful for you, for the organization that we had the opportunity to go with. It did something for me too.
Well, Harry, you going is a huge boost to that type of support. And, you're talking about being in Kyiv, listening to air raid sirens, which quite exciting.
Yeah.
The other thing, the thing is that we have a stalemate in Russia and Ukraine, with Ukraine being outnumbered, but they're just better, right, at war fighting than the Russians. And me and you know that if the U.S. were to come in with substantial aid, the Russians would be driven back. And we know that they're overextended and that they're weak. And I don't remember with the disinformation we heard on January 6th, we didn't meet a lot of Nazis in Ukraine, did we? There wasn't a lot. No, didn't meet any of them.
Not at all.
Right.
Information is crazy, man, the way that they do it. But like you just said, they have better fighters. And I did want to talk about this real quick, but when you talk about the drones and everybody thing, so an anti-aircraft artillery. So I'm thinking that everything is automated targeting systems, and there are people out there with the military has machines that targets drones and automatically shoots them. Then they, missile locking. All right, shoot down. No, it is people out there standing on rooftops with 50 cal rifles and shooting them down out of the sky. And another thing about these drones, some of them you think you see a drone and it's the size of a laptop or something like that. Some of these drones are big as Honda Civics, man. They are gigantic. They are. Denver, I didn't realize, you see the things on TV and video games and stuff like that. You don't realize how big these things are. It's like a Honda Civic flying over top of you. And I'm like, all right, so what does it do? It's a kamikaze thing. It's got C4 strapped to it, and it flies into something and it blows it up indiscriminately. It doesn't matter what it is. That's what a drone attack is. That's what these things are. And I had to explain it to my friends because you hear drone attack, the word, but what actually is it? It's C4, and they fly into people, cars, and blow anything up. That's what they're doing over there. So one of the opportunities I got to have that I in Ukraine, this was the most coolest thing to me. I got to be on a riverboat somewhere in Kyiv on a river, floating down the river, with nothing but anti drone artillery. And it's 50 cals up there, and it's turrets. And I'm standing there with these soldiers that their job is to shoot these drones down. And I said, I am on a riverboat in Kyiv with drones.
It's
What the hell is my life, dude? What is
I,
happening? Like, I am supposed to be at a cigar lounge in DC smoking a cigar,
I should
drinking
be at Shelley's right now, right, man? I should be at
having a
Shelley's.
stogie and a glass of bourbon, but I am on a riverboat in Kiev in camouflage with soldiers drone hunting. What the
Yeah.
hell is my life? What the?
Well,
I was meant to be there. I was
you
meant,
were
man.
you were meant to be there, Harry, and we're going back. I'm not going to say the date. I'll send
Yeah,
that to you. And
yeah.
the other thing too is that I got to train with the actual drone defenders with virtual reality goggles with the Kalashnikovs and the 50 cals to shoot down
Wow,
Shaheeds and FPVs.
wow.
And then, as you know, and next time, buddy, I don't know if you want to go into Kherson with me or in Odessa and Mykolaiv,
Maybe
but
so. I won't tell anybody about that one.
don't tell
Yeah,
anybody though. Yeah, just
I
me
will
and you,
talk.
right? Because I don't think anybody will notice you, Harry. I think we'll just go in. It'll be with the same truck, right? With the same truck.
Exactly,
Same
exactly,
truck.
man.
So when you look at the resilience of the Ukrainian people, and I want to end with this because I think people need to hear from you, Harry.
Yeah.
Tell me your most incredible memory of the trip, and then what's your message to the American people? And boy, no pressure at all, but most memorable experience, and what's your message to the American people?
Well, I'll start with the message to the American people because that goes into what my most memorable experience was. Um, they they need help, and the group that I went over there with, the goal is to save Ukrainian lives, not kill Russians, not kill anybody, but to save Ukrainians. And they're fighting for their existence over there. All we've heard it said so many times, Denver, by talking heads, by former President Biden, by Zelensky. The war ends if Russia goes home. Like that, literally, you do not have to worry about Ukraine striking Russia anywhere. The war is over if Russia goes home. That's it. So
That's it.
the Go, yeah, it seems so simple. Just back your tanks up, just a little bit. Like, you know what? Leave the mines, or just turn around, go home, leave everything. Just go home. We won't use it against you. Just go home, and that's the end of it. But they need our help. They cannot do it without it. Ukraine is a much better, well run machine. They're just outnumbered, and they are. Who would have thought that 2.5 years later, or whatever, however far we are now, that Ukraine not only would be the war would still be going on, but Ukraine would be winning it. Like nobody would have predicted that. Like if you bet that in Vegas, like you're winning
The
a lot of
the
money.
first day of the invasion, I believe, was February 24th, 2022. So that's how long it's been. So
Yeah. 3 and some
pretty
change
crazy.
there. So I say that the message to America, we can't give up on them. And whether it's showing up over there, if you're physically able to, show up over there. And what Denver said, you don't have to, I've put on some pounds since I was a police officer. I'm not the same guy that's running up and down flights of steps. But you could go over there and be effective. The second thing, give some money. Like, I mean, support these organizations that are doing it. And Denver, we bought our own plane tickets over there. I thought it was going to be provided by. No, it's us. And I wish I could have fundraised off it because I was squeezed a little tight. But you know what? I didn't even think twice about it. It was, let's do it. So donate when you can to people that are willing to help and actually do the work. There are a lot of organizations that are accepting money. Vet them well, and Denver can lead you to the right place. Hey,
Well, one of the places is Zero Line, right? As far as
Yep.
humanitarian aid specifically. So, yeah, go look up Zero Line. Fantastic. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You give to the people that are actually doing the work, and because that's how Ukraine wins this war with dollars, because they already got the best fighters over there. It's no question. But my best memory, Denver, is the people. That's literally just the people over there. Not the Ukrainian people, the Americans who showed up over there, because we came from all different ends of the spectrum, all different walks of life. I mean, there were soldiers out there, there were CEOs, doctors, therapists, just random people that worked at Subway, just people who actually care, people who want to make a difference. And we come from all different political ideologies. Some people may be conservative, some people are liberal, but we all believed in Ukraine's winning this war. And Nothing else mattered while we were over there. We were hugging each other like we knew each other for years. And I had
Is
known
it?
these people for 3 days, 7 days. And now we still keep in touch, and we can't wait to see how we can fortify this. But the best memory is the relationships that were made over there with like-minded people who come from all different walks of life. And you as a former elected official, that's what it's about. It's about there's so much more that unites us than divides us. And if we could just put away this silly partisan BS right now that's happening and bring Republicans, I say Republican, I'm not trying to make it partisan, but those are the people that are against funding Ukraine. If you could just bring their eyes to what is happening over there, they cannot see. How could you not? How could you not want to help them?
It's I think just if you could bottle the Ukrainian spirit and
Oh my
sell it,
gosh.
I think just a little dose of that
Shit, a
for
dose.
America
Give me a keg of it, Denver.
could reinvigorate the U.S. spirit to think about freedom, sovereignty, and pushing back on bad actors like the Russians. And I know that's the understatement of the millennia right there about bad actor. You could say much worse things. But Harry, I just want to thank you not only for being a friend, but for responding so quickly, for being so unafraid, for caring about freedom, but to continue your legacy, right? Not only through January 6th, but also through going to Ukraine. And the
Yeah.
fact is, you don't know what's happening until you're there and you're doing it. You've been there, you've done that. It's very difficult for people to gaslight you on anything once you're there and once
There.
you see it for what it is. Buddy, thank you for taking your time for me today.
It
I'm,
was a
as you
pleasure.
know, my heart is full, incredible. We will need to find that truck that you drove across the border so me and you could, because a lot of the stuff in Kherson and stuff like that is not related to the humanitarian stuff. And as Harry knows, I like to do crazy stuff, and I think Harry's going to do some crazy stuff with me. So I appreciate
Count
you,
me in.
Harry.
Count
Yep.
me
And
in.
Harry, what is your podcast, my friend? What is your show?
Yeah, clean up on aisle 45. We talked about the developments in the Trump Justice Department and other news related to the courts out there. I host that with Allison Gill, was Mueller she wrote on Mueller she wrote on socials, and also I have a Substack that would love people to be able to. It's called Standing Our Ground, because I like to say our, not my ground, it's
Our
our ground, because we're all in this together. So
wonderful.
we got to do it together. So
Wonderful. Everybody needs to go there. Look up Harry, listen to Harry. As for us, make sure you subscribe to Truth in the Barrel. Make sure you download your favorite pod, or you don't get to hear great things like this with me and Harry. So, Harry, we're going to sign off, my friend. And hey, Slava Ukraini, right? And
the reply was Ukraine Aslam. I forgot. See, I'm not
Ukraini Horom or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah. And so, but again, thank you, everybody. And take care of yourself, Harry. And I'll see you in Ukraine, my friend.
Yep. See you soon.
See you, buddy.